Welcome to the Automated Daily, Top News Edition. I'm your host, Trend Teller, and today is the 3rd of August, 2023. We've got a lot to cover, so let's dive right in. Starting off with environmental news, China has given the green light to over 50 gigawatts of new coal power in the first half of this year, according to Greenpeace. This move is in stark contrast to the global push to cut down on fossil fuel consumption in the fight against climate change. China's focus on energy security, especially in light of droughts impacting hydropower production, has led to a surge in coal-fired plants. This could potentially jeopardize China's commitment to reduce coal use by 2026 to 2030. Last year, China's coal output increased by 9%, making up more than half of the world's total. This rise in coal usage is not just a China issue, as the International Energy Agency reported record-breaking coal consumption globally in 2022. In health news, researchers have come up with a novel algorithm, COVID Surge, that can predict COVID-19 surges before they happen by analyzing wastewater samples. This tool, which has a true positive rate of over 80%, can assess an entire community, including asymptomatic individuals and those who do not report their COVID-19 test results. The algorithm has shown an accuracy between 71 to 82% in predicting COVID-19 surges as early as 4 to 5 days before they start. This could be a game changer in providing an early warning system to curb the spread of COVID-19. Moving on to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, Ukrainian officials report that Russian forces have not made any progress along the front lines but are heavily entrenched in mined areas they control. This makes it challenging for Ukrainian troops to advance. Meanwhile, Russian accounts claim that they have repelled 12 Ukrainian attacks in the Donetsk region. The Russian military has focused on air attacks that damaged grain infrastructure in Ukraine's Danube port of Izmail. Ukrainian forces have been pushing southward to sever the land bridge between occupied eastern Ukraine and the Russian-annexed Crimean Peninsula. Ukrainian officials also claim to have retaken areas near Bakhmut, an eastern city seized by Russian forces in May. However, they emphasize that the advances cannot be rushed as human lives are at stake. Turning to weather news, South Korea and Japan are grappling with deadly heat waves as extreme weather continues to wreak havoc in the region. South Korea has raised its heat alert to the highest level for the first time since 2019, with temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. At least 23 people have died from heat-related causes in South Korea since late May, which is more than 3 times the death toll from the same period last year. In Japan, temperatures as high as 103.6 degrees have been recorded, and a special heatstroke alert has been issued in 32 prefectures. The elderly are particularly vulnerable to the heat, posing challenges for public health strategies in rapidly aging societies. Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, has warned that Russia winning the war would be the worst-case scenario for all humanity. She pleaded with the world not to lose interest in Ukraine and emphasized the importance of maintaining the democratic balance in the world. Zelenska expressed concern that the world is underestimating the wider threat from Russia and urged for faster support to combat the better-equipped Russian troops. She also highlighted the personal toll of the war, with her and her husband being forced to live separately due to security concerns. Ukraine is ramping up its own production of ammunition as it faces an urgent need for supplies in its counteroffensive against Russia. The country's defense industry has been producing twice as many mortars and artillery rounds each month as it did in all of 2022. Ukraine's Minister for Strategic Industries, Alexander Kamyshin, said that hundreds of domestic facilities are focused on producing ammunition and drones. However, most of the newly made Ukrainian ammunition is Soviet-era caliber and will not fit the Western weapon systems that NATO states have sent. Here are the 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Wednesday, August 2nd. Stocks are off to a lackluster start for August, with futures ticking lower. The Dow futures slid about 100 points, while S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 futures fell roughly 0.5% and 0.7%, respectively. Fitch Ratings downgraded the U.S.'s credit rating from AAA to A+, citing expected fiscal deterioration and erosion of governance. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted for a 3rd time. The charges relate to his efforts to reverse the results of the 2020 election and include conspiracy to defraud the U.S., conspiracy to impede the January 6 congressional proceeding, and conspiracy against the right to vote. Job vacancies and layoffs ticked lower in June, suggesting some stability in the job market. However, layoffs were reported at Alphabet and CVS Health. Starbucks saw a boost in international sales during the second quarter, with same-store sales outside of North America jumping 24%. China, in particular, posted 46% sales growth. However, Starbucks revenue fell short of Wall Street estimates. India has announced that it will require a licensing requirement for imports of laptops, tablets, and personal computers, a move that could impact companies like Apple, Dell, and Samsung. The new rule aims to boost local manufacturing and curb supplies from China due to security concerns. The licensing regime could result in prolonged wait times for new models and may affect sales during the festive season. India's electronics imports, including laptops and tablets, were valued at $19.7 billion in the April to June period. The world is facing challenges in breaking China's stranglehold on rare earths, which are essential for the clean energy transition. Companies like MP Materials and Lynas are struggling to refine their own rare earths due to technical complexities, partnership strains, and pollution concerns. China currently controls 87% of global rare earths refining capacity, and there are fears that China could block exports of rare earths or processing technology. The difficulty in developing independent supplies of rare earths could hinder efforts to cut carbon emissions and transition to clean energy. Australia is set to introduce a global minimum tax in an effort to prevent multinational companies from evading taxes. The tax, which will be implemented from January 2024, aims to address the problem of tax-shifting strategies used by these companies. However, there are doubts about whether the tax will be effective in preventing corporate tax avoidance. Some experts argue that a global minimum tax may not be enough to address the underlying problem and suggest taxing multinational companies as singular entities based on their global profits. There are concerns that the tax could backfire and result in multinationals paying only the minimum 15% tax rate, making it difficult for other countries to justify higher tax rates. Additionally, it is likely that companies will find ways to work around the tax and countries will continue to provide tax incentives to attract offshore business. And that's a wrap for today's edition of the Automated Daily. I'm Trend Teller, and I'll be back tomorrow with more top news. Stay informed, stay safe, and have a great day.